Hi Pisces, and welcome to the Mother Tressa channel. If you're already familiar with this space, welcome back. If you are new to this channel, welcome in. We are all here to embrace you with open arms and acceptance and an abundance of love. So feel free to come in as you are in the most authentic state that you find yourself in, be it positive, negative, or neutral. It really doesn't matter. I just pray that you leave better than you came, okay? I've been meditating on energies for the past few days, and what came up for Pisces is all about the context of things, like and understanding the concept of. So in matters of love, everybody has to sacrifice when it comes to giving to and receiving from the source that one loves. So it doesn't have to be romantic. It can be like if you love your job, you have to sacrifice sometimes your holidays in order to work, in order to continue to provide for yourself and those that are depending on you. So your family, your children, if you will, or just the fulfillment and enjoyment and satisfaction that you get out of leaving your mark on the world in that way by being of service and doing your due diligence, right? And just showing up consistently for your work. When it comes to matters of the heart and in relationships, you have to sacrifice sometimes your time, you have to sacrifice your energy. There are people, say if you're in a long distance relationship, eventually somebody's going to have to sacrifice all it is that they know and are familiar with, be it their family and their friends, potentially their job as well, and move across state, across country to be with the person that they love. There's great sacrifice in that. But it left me questioning, how much is enough? Because there are some people that selflessly give, and in that they forget to enforce boundaries. Maybe they don't even know what boundaries are, and so they often come to a place where they feel completely empty or void of, and that later turns into resentment, or that later turns into feelings of guilt and or shame, and or that just comes down to them feeling drained altogether, giving so much out that they don't have enough to even pour back into themselves and tend to themselves in their own ritualistic way, be it taking like a salt bath, or be it going to the nail salon, or be it for guys, I don't know what you guys are into, going shopping, or what will a guy do? Go to a car show? I don't know. I'm not a man. But being able to go back to those things that also put a smile on your face, give to you in other ways than in a material sense, right? But on an emotional level, and how you are able to restore and or replenish yourself and your soul. A lot of people get so lost in giving and putting other people before themselves and putting themselves last that by the time they get back to themselves, there's nothing left. So it's how much, how much is enough? And then you find yourself in situations where you're dealing with people and all they know is to take and take and take. And they always demand and ask of things that you have to then become a magician and try to pull stuff out of your hat, because it's like what they ask of you is sometimes impossible, or you just feel like even when you give to them and to the best of your ability, it's still like they always have something to say about it. There's still a complaint. There's still like yeah, this is nice, but, and so you feel like it's never good enough, So what you guys have as the overlying energy coming out is the Ace of Swords. So it's like a breakthrough again in your thought form and the connections that you make. Again, in contextualizing or conceptualizing ideas and this paradigm as a whole, and how it has been, and what's really been of benefit to humanity, but also what's been of benefit to you on a very micro level, right? Because this is the ace, so it does come back into the center, right? The I, the personality, the ego self. as well. So on a micro level, how it has served you, or how it continues to serve you, how it can serve the future personality of self and the energy that you give off, right? The cruise that hounds you guys, you have the Hanged Man. So again, it's you guys doing a lot of what I've been feeling, tapping into and meditating on energies, and just being observant of my external reality and the interactions I've been watching with other people in different types of dynamics. So a father and daughter relationship, a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, girl-on-girl relationship, and just the way that people structure their world, and the way that people inform those within, and or persuade those within to try to get, at the end of the day, we're all in this experience to get something out of it. So what they can extract and or pull out of people in their environment, and just how present and just how selfless in a way, like in comparison, though comparison is the thief of joy, but just in comparison to how you go about approaching and or speaking to someone, so that you know that you're not speaking at them, you're really trying to get the person, whatever message you're trying to convey to that person, entity, whatever, that they really understand, you know, where you're coming from. But you can see in interactions with other people how they talk at other people, or how they try to use their influence and or abuse it, and how they come off as being a little bit more selfish than selfless. Because you know the Hanged Man is the martyr in most traditional decks, so it can be self-sacrificing, a self-sacrificing individual, and a lot of Pisces will come to be that if they don't figure out what channel or what outlet they will use to push their ideas forward in a creative and imaginative way, right? Pisces is all about like Fantasyland and idealism to some degree, but it's just putting a very mystical, magical touch on the things that you find yourself involved in, or the people that you find yourself involved with, and wanting to be different. I feel like for some of you guys, you see the structures and the way that other people are building up their things, and then you're looking at a lot of those like, okay, like that doesn't resonate with me personally. So you're drawing inspiration from moments like that, or just in thinking about your own personal upbringing, and your familial dynamics and your friendships, and where you are today. And it's like, okay, in my current reality, in this dimension with this Ace of Swords that I find myself in, and what it is, again, I'm trying to progressively push out or move into, like, I can't continue to allow for that to be my truth, you know? I need to, or I have a duty to some degree to lead by a better example. So you guys have these 7 of coins that came out in the what's real position. And that is all about things that are contractual in nature, but things that you want to sustain partnership wise. So it can be a romantic, loving relationship that you have, or that you desire to create. Again, it's not something that you can just wish upon a star for and manifest into your actual reality. You can get the person that is meant to leave a marker, that is a part of your actual destiny here too. I'm getting that with this Hangman crossing it and all this enlightening energy. Somebody that is to come in and help you fulfill your destiny, but that person is still flawed. You know, there are still things that have to be worked through within the bounds of your relationship and the bond, okay? And the joy that you experience in life has to do a lot with how you co-create with it, with this 7 of coins energy. It's all in what you create with the person. Because nobody really has the instructions. There also is no right or wrong way to really do it. But not right or wrong, but authentic, and what is authentic to you. Okay, and so I feel like a lot of you guys are looking into those types of things. What's wrong about the situation? You have the Queen of Swords energy. So Queen of Swords energy, and where you need more information, you have the Ace of Wands. So what can be wrong about the situation or the dynamic that you find yourself in, or this paradigm that you will feel yourself energetically moving into, especially as we're closing out the year and starting a new cycle? You can be a little bit too judgmental or too stiff or too rigid in your ways. Okay, and maybe in your observations of other people, then you start to form this like complex where you need more information. Here we go. We have the pride that comes through with like the ego, self, and identity and expression, right? In the way that one expresses themselves. You can start to look at people, I want to say like peasants. How am I trying to say that? You form a complex where you're looking at people and you have a very snobbish or uppity outlook on like their style, okay? Their style of approach as opposed to yours, okay? And so you can be coming off very judgmental. Also have to be careful that you're not being hypocritical with this energy, where you'll look at somebody and be like, oh, they're better than me. Like, I would never be in a position like that. I would never tolerate this and or that. You know what I mean? And finding yourself where you're prying into other people's business in a way that isn't constructive to the criticism that you're providing or to the opinion, unsolicited as well, that you have of them. And again, their style of life and the way that they decide to live and or move and or be. But you have to be very careful, because oftentimes when you speak in that way and being like, oh, like that will never be me, you will find yourself in a very similar situation that then you will have to find resolve for, you know? So never say never, because we're not invincible, okay? We are not invincible. You have the Knight of Swords as we are ending out in this spread. It can happen to you too. It can be you too, right? If you guys are involved with someone, they're going through a period of isolation, which is necessary. So if there's been some distance created, know that it is appropriate for the matter at hand. Somebody's really trying to grow and trying to be better, but they have to do it apart from you. There has to be some level of distance. But do know that when they're not in that spiritual mode of connecting to divine, they are still checking in on you. You know, you guys might talk even though you're not necessarily physically close. And you can talk in many different ways, right? It can be spiritual in the 5D realm as you dream. It can be through friends of friends, or it can be telepathically as well with all of this air energy, where you question if that person's doing well, and then you'll hear a song that maybe you two both enjoyed while you guys were sharing in the same physical space, and it's that confirmation of, yeah, like they're doing all right. Yes, that love is still there. It's not going anywhere. When it's appropriate, this person will return to you. But in the meantime, what are you continually doing for yourself? But again, as well, with the sacrificing that we were talking about, because at the bottom of the deck you have the Eight of Wands. It's going back to the beginning of how much of myself am I willing to sacrifice for this relationship? How far can I go? How much pain should I endure for love? Because it's not always about the pleasantries, right? Love is not just about a pleasant experience, because you grow most in discomfort and when you are being challenged, right? In the ways that you need to be on a physical, mental, and emotional level. But everybody has their limits, and so you need to understand what those are, just so that you know how far you're willing to go, right? And what your breaking point is, right? What your triggers are, so that you can have that effective communication between you and your partner, so that they're not intentionally going out and doing things that will bring harm upon you, and or vice versa. So that's what you guys can be expecting. If this reading resonated, give me a thumbs up. Share this with your friends and family. Subscribe if you haven't, and book with me should you need to. But if I don't hear from you, then just take care of yourself and your soul until you hear from me again. Ciao.